Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Cheryl. I thank you so much for being with me in this growth journey of living a surrendered life in God. Thank you for sharing, commenting, liking, subscribing to my channel. I really appreciate you all, and inform somebody, include somebody, and let's do this growth and life thing together. Have a notebook ready because today we're going to be doing a little bit of introspection. In the last video, we spoke about resetting in God or with God, and we chose one area in our lives that we're saying we're going to reset in God and start moving forward with God fully involved in that area. Today I would like to continue on with that because point number 3 of that video was moving, of which I mentioned Matthew 25 verse 14 to 30, which is the parable of the talents. Now if you haven't watched that video, I've put it in the description below, or you can click here to access the video. I've also put the link in the description of the 12 areas that I've been mentioning on this channel so that you can really look at the areas that we're talking about and choose an area of your own. As we continue looking at the parable of the talents from Matthew 25 verse 14 to 30, I'd just like to mention that this is part 1 of the video. I don't want the videos to be too long, so I've broken this video into 2 parts. Okay, so let's get into reading Matthew 25 verse 14. This time we're going to end it to 23 for this first part of the video, and I'm reading it from the Message version. It's also like a man going off on an extended trip. He called his servants together and delegated responsibilities. To one he gave $5,000, to another $2,000, and to a third $1,000, depending on their abilities. Then he left. Right off, the first servant went to work and doubled his master's investment. The second did the same, but the man with a single $1,000 dug a hole and carefully buried his master's money. After a long absence, the master of those 3 servants came back and settled with them. The one given $5,000 showed him how he had doubled his investment. His master commended him. "Good work. You did your job well. From now on, you will be my partner." The servant with $2,000 showed how he also doubled his master's investment. His master commended him. "Good work. You did your job well. From now on, you will be my partner." In other versions, the $1,000 is mentioned as talents, in most of them actually. So whilst we're looking at the talents, I'm going to be mentioning them as talents in this video, and also I want to take a look at the characters that we have in the story. We've got 4 of them: the master, the faithful servants, one which was given the 2 talents, and the other that was given the 5 talents, and then the last one was given the 1 talent. Okay, so in this video we're going to specifically look at the faithful servants, the one that was given 5 and the one that was given 2 talents. It is not known exactly the monetary value these talents represent, but the point is, which is a very important point at that, is that it's a very large sum of money. Just as many of us assume that the biblical talents are not much anything, I feel like we also look at that when it comes to our own talents, our own personal talents. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Before we go there, let's look at the faithful servants, the one that was given 5 talents, the one that was given 2 talents, because their stories are similar. We'll consider them together. Their story is they receive talents from the master. While their master is away, they invest the talents. As a result, they double the number of talents that they have, and they receive a reward from the master on his return. And they're also called faithful servants. Okay, so where do talents come from? The talents come from the master. The talents come from God. Of course, in this parable, God is not mentioned as the master, but as it applies to our own lives today, we know that the master of our lives, the pillar that holds our lives, is God. And in James 1 verse 17, I'm reading from the Good News Bible, it says, "Every good gift comes from heaven." So we know that our gifts, our talents, they come from God. So before we go on, I would like you to make a list of your talents big and small, whatever it may be, anything that you are good at, that you're gifted in all areas of your life, whatever it is, make a list of it. Highlight your main talents on the list, the ones that you feel are like the big talents. Okay. As we're looking at the talents that we have written down, or maybe not written down because we may feel like we don't have talents, we need to consider even the smallest things, or the things that we don't see as significant. Because we may have 2 talents, or we may have 5 talents, but the point is we have talents. Whether you recognize them now or not, you've got talents. Now, let's take a look at basic human abilities, okay? We've got the body, which is the ability to do things, the brain, the ability to think, hearing, the ability to listen, and mouth, the ability to speak. And based on this now, I want you to go back, look at your talents. If you didn't write anything, or you wrote a few talents, I'd like you to think of these basic human abilities, and then match up to the things that you are good at, to the talents that you have, to the gifts that you have that are innate in you, that are natural to you, or that come naturally to you. Looking closely at the story, I would like to think that talents symbolize 4 things, okay? The gospel, the gifts of the Holy Spirit, our natural abilities, and our material possessions. Okay. Comparing the 2-talent servant and the 5-talent servant, we can see that they've got 2 similarities. They both take on responsibilities, and they're both faithful. Okay, their differences are they have different abilities, they're given different starting points, their gifts that they are given have different values, and the potentials are different. But the Bible could have just compared a faithful servant and an unfaithful servant. So why 2 faithful servants? I'm thinking about the 1-talent servant, right? He could have just said, you know what, this is not even fair. I was given an unfair advantage because I was given 1 talent. But then there is a 2-talent servant who was given less than the 5-talent servant, but still he came up as a faithful servant. So the 2-talent servant doesn't even compare himself to the 5-talent servant. He just does what he's supposed to do. I feel like Jesus, by pointing out the differences in the 2-talent servant and the 5-talent servant, he was showing that we may not all start at the same point in life, or we may not all come from the same background. We may not all be on the same level, who have grown up the same, or have been given the same hand at life, but we all have something. And it's not an excuse for us not to do anything because we've been given something different from other people. So by including both servants in the story, both 2 faithful servants that are on different levels in the story, Jesus is showing that we cannot excuse ourselves from doing anything because we're not given the same hand as another person has been given. Make a list of people that you compare yourself to. You need to be very honest with yourself. That's the way that we grow, the way that we change, in being honest, looking inside ourselves and being honest with ourselves. Who do you compare yourself to? Okay? After you've done that, look at it. Does this impact what you do with your own talents? This comparison, does it impact what you do with your own talents? Is this a good thing, and what can you do about it? Looking at this parable, looking at what happened in this parable, you're on a different level with someone else. You're not coming from the same background. You probably didn't go to the same schools, or you're not in the same jobs. But truth is, you've got a talent. So is it a good thing to compare yourself to that person? And after you compare yourself to that person or those people, what's next? Okay? Does it really matter anyway how much we have? Maybe to some extent, but the important thing, and the most important thing, is how effectively we use the things that we have. In this parable, the master gave responsibilities and just left. He left the servants alone. They didn't have anyone that was guiding them. They were just on their own. But the difference is with us and these servants is that, number one, we're not servants. We're children of God. We're sons of God. We're daughters of God. And the Bible clearly states that you are a son of God. You're a child of God. Okay? And then, number two, Jesus, before he left, says, I'm leaving you with someone. I'm not leaving you alone. and I'm leaving you with the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of the Lord. He will not leave you nor forsake you. And I love Romans 8 verse 22 in the Passion Translation. It says, and in a similar way, the Holy Spirit takes hold of us in our human frailty to empower us in our weaknesses. For example, I like this part. For example, at times we don't even know how to pray or know the best things to ask for, but the Holy Spirit rises up within us to super intercede on our behalf, pleading to God with emotional sighs too deep for words. I love the part for example, because in this word, God is saying, this is just an example. There is more that the Holy Spirit can do for you. There is more that the Holy Spirit will empower in you to do. For example, in using the talents that God has given us. The Holy Spirit is there to guide us in how we need to use the talents, in how we need to invest our talents, how we need to go about the gospel, to go about our natural abilities, our possessions, and our gifts in the Spirit. We are not alone. We've got the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is there, wanting to have a relationship with us, wanting to commune with us, so that He gives us the direction in how our talents can begin to flourish within us, and how we can continuously use our talents for the will of God in us to become effective. Okay, so this is just part 1 of the video. I look forward to seeing you in the next part, where we look at the unfaithful servant, where we dig deep down in what really made this servant not be able to do anything with his talents. Okay, I love you all. I'm praying for you. God bless you. See you in the next one. Bye.